Whether it's a product for home or business, farm or factory, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
Upstairs. Sit down. Is your arm bad?
No, it's all right. Do we have to have that?
No. Name?
Paul. Where is he?
I'll tell him.
In this section of Marseilles, it is better to bolt the door. Welcome. Your arm is bad. It needs bandaging.
It's all right. I'll wash it out later.
If you are not worried about the wound, I am about the bloodstains. You are a native of Marseille, I gather?
No.
Where are you going?
Don't you know?
I prefer you told me. After all, you might not be the person I am expecting.
Toulouse. Who's the girl?
Oh, this is not precisely to my taste either. I, too, am an intruder. But you needn't worry. She has been with us for 2 years. Toulouse, huh? To whom are you reporting? Raoul?
No. Why are you so interested?
Raoul is an old friend, but he is reckless. He will not last long. Have one.
Thanks.
From the body of Colonel Heinrich Klebauer. He disappeared yesterday, you know?
Yes, I know. Where?
In the sewer at the end of the Rue de la Rose. You are probably hungry. I haven't a great deal to offer, but I have some cheese and a few things.
I'm not hungry. And turn that thing off.
You do not like heated pia? What a pity. I am sorry I can only offer you the couch to sleep on.
I'm not spending the night. I must be in Toulouse tomorrow.
The shooting was much too close. You'll have to wait till the search is over.
No, I'm known. I must get out before the search begins.
Oh, you must leave that to me and let me handle it in the way that is best appears to me.
Where does that trap door lead? Can I get out that way?
Yes, but they've been watching the rules for some time. I wouldn't advise it.
Listen.
We must find some place for you
You
to
sent
hide.
for them. You're working with the Gestapo.
You're out of your
You're not
mind.
the one I was supposed to meet. I was told he'd be alone, and no woman was mentioned.
Don't be a fool. We haven't time.
Alex! Alex!
What are you using for a heading, Louise?
The Parisian Silhouette, 1950. It's only a working title. I'll find something better.
Work in the name of some fabric if you can. We might be able to pull an ad from one of the manufacturers.
Right.
Where's Paul?
He's not been here all afternoon.
Well, he ought to be back soon. He's taking me to dinner.
I'll leave this material on his desk. Get him to look it over, will you, Jean? I may want him to do a series for us.
What on?
The Resistance. A lot of new material's been coming out lately. Looks pretty good.
Better give it to somebody else.
Why? We need his name.
He won't do it.
He'd refuse an assignment.
Yes?
Well, why do you think so?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have spoken.
I want to talk to him tomorrow about this.
Do you want Paul to lose his job?
If I weren't a fool, I probably would. I've had this date with him for 3 days. I doubt if he even remembers it. And if he does, he's just as liable to go into one of his moods and walk out in the middle of dinner. If I had any sense, I'd forget him.
Why did you say he wouldn't do the resistance story? Marseilles gets pretty difficult with anyone who refuses an assignment.
Paul was in the Resistance for 4 years. He was wounded, too, badly. Oh, he didn't tell me. He never mentions it. Collet told me. If you get Paul in the right mood, he'll tell you quite a lot about himself, his family, his life as a child in Aurillac, his studying to be a doctor. But there are 4 blank years. Ask him about them, he'll close up like a clam.
He's not happy. There seems to be something preying on his mind. Well, you'd better get back to your work.
It was no good anyway.
I'm late. Was Jean going to take you to dinner in my place?
I was about to ask her.
You can come with us, Jean. We'll let you stay through coffee. After that, we'll leave, you'll leave, or either we'll leave and let you pay the check.
I might take you up on that.
You looked annoyed when I came in. What were you talking about?
You? We decided we know why you're so morose. Jean thinks you have something dark and evil preying on your mind.
Oh, does he? Hey, what's all this?
Corley left it for you. It's a material on a feature series he wants you to do.
Oh? What about?
Resistance.
No. Be all right if it's honest. Hey, if we're going out for dinner, we better get started.
Corley wanted you to look over that material tonight.
I can think of 2 ways of answering that, and out of deference to the lady.
Oh.
We're going out for a big evening, and no talking shop.
You're thoroughly mad.
I'll pick this up if you want before we leave.
When are you going to do that fashion piece?
I'll come in early in the morning. Come on, have an aperitif with us at least.
No, I have a pile of things to get through here. I'd better stay. You wouldn't want me along anyway.
I certainly wouldn't. I'm ready, Paul. Paul.
Why don't you 2 go on ahead? I'll join you later.
What?
I can't talk now, Louise. Just go.
What is it, Paul?
Nothing.
Oh, you're just being difficult. Come on, we'll pour some drinks into you and then
No.
we'll get...
Now get out, both of you.
Paul, please.
I wouldn't be very good company, I'm afraid.
Come, Louise. I'll take you to dinner.
I wonder now, as I look back to that night in the gray spring of 1944.
If there wasn't some little gesture, some hint in his voice that might have warned me of what was to happen. Or was I perhaps too trusting? Perhaps I had not yet seen the meanness, the deceit, the double dealing I was to find within the hearts of my own countrymen. I had not learned then that there were Frenchmen who feel and think and act like Germans. I see it all so vividly. The gramophone grinding out the weary loneliness of Edith Piaf, the bamboo screen around the stove, the blackout curtains on the attic window, and in the chair beside me, the man I was trying to save, whose wounded arm I was banding with my own handkerchief. Could I have known even then that he was planning to turn on me? Could I have known that the bread, wine, cheese, and the sanctuary I was to offer him would be repaid in the tightening of a finger on a pistol trigger?
Oh, there you are, Paul. I was hoping to catch you before I left. Starting to look over the material? Some of it's highly sensational, of course, and not always reliable.
Why did you do this to me, Monsieur Collet?
What?
Why did you use as savage a trick as this to let me know that you knew?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't need reminding. I've tortured myself enough these last 6 years.
Tortured? Isn't that a bit dramatic, Paul?
Who is Alexander Wolff?
I have no idea. I'm not even sure he exists. Certainly, this is a most fantastic story. I had no idea it would even interest you.
It's not fantastic enough.
What?
I was there. I was the man who shot Alexander Wolff. I stood less than 10 feet away from him and put 3 bullets through his stomach.
Are you seriously trying to tell me that this story is true?
Down to the smallest detail. I always thought I killed that man. For 6 years. Seeing those eyes staring up at me. 6 years never knowing in my own mind whether he'd been working with the Marquis or the Gestapo. 6 years telling myself that if I killed an innocent man, I'd done it in a moment when I thought my own life was in danger. That a mistake couldn't be called a crime. 6 years of torture, Monsieur Collet. And now he's alive. Alexander Wolff. And he says here he's innocent. I've got to meet him face to face. I've got to know.
I see. Well, I wish I could be more help to you, but frankly, I've never even seen the man myself. I'd assumed it was a pen name. The manuscript was brought in by a disreputable character named... here, there was a letter attached to the manuscript. Must be here somewhere. Ah, this is it. Verignac. Marcel Verignac. It was all very shady. He gave us his address, a bistro of some sort. See here. The Chat Gris, 10 Rue de la Rose, Marseilles. There. I paid him a few francs for the story, and he disappeared. But if we use it, I'll pay him a little more, of
The
course.
Chat Gris?
Yes, you know the place?
No, I've never been there, but I know the street. Give me that fellow's name again.
Marcel
Marcel
Verignac.
Verignac.
Yes, why?
I'm going to find him.
You're going to Marseille?
Yes, tonight.
But what about the Leclerc letters? You have a deadline on that story, you
You can
know.
reschedule it. Put it ahead a couple of weeks.
Now, wait a
Or would
minute.
you rather I resign?
But Paul...
Either way is all right with me, you
No,
know.
Paul, please, just a minute, Paul. Come,
Give me a glass of wine, please.
Bordeaux?
Anything. I'm looking for a man named Wolff. Alexander Wolff.
Your name, monsieur?
Durand, Paul Durand.
You are not a native of Marseille?
No, I arrived an hour ago.
Your business?
I write for La Journée.
I can tell you nothing of Alexander Wolff, monsieur.
But you know him?
Many people come to the Chagrin, monsieur.
Well, then perhaps you can tell me if you know a man named Marcel Berignac. I understand he comes here regularly. He gave this as his address.
In writing to you, monsieur?
No, to the paper I work for in Paris.
Many people give this address, monsieur.
Possibly. I don't think it'll be necessary to bother you any further. I think I see the man I'm after. Monsieur Berignac?
That is right, monsieur.
My name is Durand. I'm looking for Alexander Wolff.
I do not place the name.
I think that you do. Since you do a certain amount of business for him, I imagine you should know how to get in touch with him.
Who sent you?
I work with the police.
Did I not hear you say you work for a newspaper? Huh?
Part of the time.
Let me see your credentials, huh?
I said I worked with the police, not for them. But I will say this much. They dug up enough to make them believe that Alexander Wolff was on good terms with the Gestapo. As a friend of his, they might think the same of you.
Of me? Ask in Grenoble, ask in Avignon, ask anywhere Marseille, and you will find out that Marcel Verignac was a marquis.
Possibly. But there were some who didn't trust Wolff.
Who?
Raoul.
Raoul was killed in 44.
How?
It was not Wolff. They were friends.
Can you prove it?
Yes, look at the records.
Then why is he in hiding now? What's he afraid of?
Look, you really want to know about Wolff? I can lead you to someone who knows him a lot better than I do.
Who?
His girl. Oh, there were many others, but this is the one.
Where can I find her?
She was sitting over there when you came in. She lives just up the street at 24 Beats, Rue de la Rose.
The entrance is in the alley.
That is right. It was a safe house for 3 years.
What's her name?
Hélène Roussel.
That ought to cover the drinks. Mademoiselle Roussel?
She will not. There were no men calling on her at the night.
I'm a friend of hers. She asked me to come.
Well, perhaps.
Yes,
Mademoiselle Roussel,
yes.
may I come in?
I was just going to bed.
Forgive me. I'm looking for Alexander Wolff.
Did Verignac send you?
Yes.
Very well. Come in. This place will bring back a number of memories. So should I. I was here that night. You thought you'd killed Alexander Wolff, didn't you?
Yes.
So did I. Who are you? I've often wondered.
Durand, Paul Durand. I know it's late, but may I stay a moment?
Yes, a moment. Come, sit here on the sofa. I'll light the fire. It's cold. You have a number of questions you want to ask me, haven't you?
Yes.
I have only one. May I ask it first?
Go right ahead.
Why did you miss?
Now that you've seen part one of The Spectre of Alexander Wolff, let's turn to our Westinghouse program. The door that leads 4 ways. Say, that sounds like a remarkable kind of door.
It certainly is, because it leads to 4 of the finest ways to entertain yourself, your family, and your friends. Let me show you. Now, here's the first of the 4 ways that this glorious new Westinghouse console entertains. Television. And right here, you'll find 2 more ways. For your favorite radio programs, just turn the dial to AM. And then for music that's utterly static-free, turn the dial to that wonderful new Westinghouse exclusive, Rainbow Tone FM. Now, here's the 4th way that it entertains. And this phonograph takes every one of your favorite records, no matter what kind and size they are. Now, it plays 45 RPM, regular records, and 33 1/3 LP records, and gives you a full hour of uninterrupted music. Now, most sets have 4 or 5 dials to control your television reception. But see, this set has just 1 dial. Now, you just give this new Westinghouse single dial control 1 single turn, just like that, and you're tuned in perfectly to the channel you want. And because of the miracle of Westinghouse synchro tuning, picture and sound come in together. Now, there's never any wavering like this, and the sound never goes off like this. Once tuned, this set stays locked in tune. Now look at the huge 17-inch rectangular black glass picture tube. Now, if you're watching a 10-inch screen right now, there's the difference. Now, isn't that something? Westinghouse has engineered this screen to give you a real direct view image of the complete picture just as it's telecast. Yes, this door will not only lead to 4 ways to entertain, but it's going to be the very favorite door in your house when you own this wonderful new Westinghouse home entertainment unit, the Manor Crest. Dealers, technicians, people who know say that Westinghouse today gives you the very finest of television for your money. Remember, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
And now let's return to Westinghouse Studio 1 and The Spectre of Alexander Wolff.
Love letter? Our friend Durand has been away for some time, has he not? Where is he, in Paris? Oh, but I know that much. I read the postmark. Besides, I knew he was in Toulouse anyway. Alexander Wolff told me. He's been away for a week.
Where is Alex?
Oh, moving around. I would not be a bit surprised if he turned up here in a day or so.
Why?
Oh, he asked me to tell you. He may have to leave France for a while.
Is that of interest to me?
It might be. He might not like to travel alone, eh?
Alex never had trouble finding someone to travel with.
Oh, but he's more particular than he used to be.
Did he ask you to tell me this?
Oh, no. But he does not like the idea of this Durand fellow hanging around you. Some he might not mind, but
This
Durand...
fellow bothering you?
Yes.
On your way.
I was not causing any trouble.
He was reading a letter over my shoulder.
On your way.
All right. All right. I will tell Monsieur Wolff what you said.
I'm sure you will. Thanks, Andre.
If he keeps on bothering you, you let me know.
I will.
I might not be willing to take the same chances with Monsieur Wolff. Nor should you. Someone for you, I think. The usual, monsieur?
You should have let me
I
know.
didn't know myself. I was supposed to go back to Paris today. They've been yelling their heads off at the paper.
Should you have gone?
Yes. I sent them a wire instead. I've quit.
You've given up your position?
Yes.
You shouldn't. It's wrong.
It's much worse being away from you.
Much worse. I look a sight. Let me go home and get into something else. I want this evening to be a very special evening.
But you
I'll
don't
just be 10 minutes.
You don't have to.
I'd rather. I'll leave the doors on the latch.
Hadn't I better knock just the same?
Alone, eh?
Yes. Oh, Andre, I wanted to ask you something. You knew Raoul, didn't you? I understood he worked out of here when he came to Marseille.
The blonde-headed kid from Toulouse? Yes, I knew him.
How was he killed?
The Gestapo. He was careless.
Was he? Some people I spoke to in Toulouse didn't seem to think he was. He was in here the night they got him, wasn't he?
Yes, he was here. Somebody met him. They went out together. 2 days later, I heard they'd got him.
Who was that person who met him?
It's a long time ago, monsieur. I cannot remember. It was a girl, I think. But there were always girls with Raoul, many of them. I cannot remember which one, monsieur.
Then it was not a man?
No.
I see. Well, it was just an idea.
You didn't give me 10 minutes. You didn't even give me 5. You just have to wait.
I don't mind.
There's some cognac on the table. And some of your cigarettes by the big trolley if you want them.
Thanks.
It's all the trousseau I have.
It's enough.
It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
Till your letter came this morning, I'd hardly dared hope I'd ever see you again. I'd begun to learn to think of you as something that had gone forever, like a day in the country.
I tried not to come back. It's wrong for me to go on seeing you.
Why? I know you can't offer me everything. I'm content with what I have.
No. It's what we have that's wrong.
Why?
Oh, because
Why are you frowning?
I don't want to love you. Yet I've neither the strength nor the will to fight it, and yet it can't go on.
Why not?
It's as though I were taking you away from him. I've done enough to hurt him without this.
Don't think of him. I don't.
Don't you? You were in love with him once. What happened?
I can't tell you. Oh, darling, can't we just have one evening without these same questions over and over? I'd begun to hope that when you came back, if you came back, you'd have begun to put all this out of your mind.
No.
Why? Why?
It's because you're the bitterest accusation I have to face. If you could have loved him even for 1 hour, he couldn't be the person I believed him to be.
It isn't as simple as that. If it were, I'd have told you. Alex was a twisted person. He was nothing but mind. I was a baby. I wasn't even 20. I knew too little. He could make me do whatever he wanted to without even coming near me, without touching me. I was afraid of him. He liked to see me afraid. It excited him. I tried to hide it, but he always knew. Then when he began telling me the things he was doing, the risks he was taking, I had no resistance. But it wasn't love.
I know. But that doesn't answer the question.
What question, my darling?
Did he call the Gestapo that night? Was he planning on turning me over to them?
I can't answer that. No one can but Alex, and he never will.
I can at least try.
How can you? You spent 2 weeks hunting for him, and you're no closer now than you were the first night you came in here. How can you ask him? You don't even know where he is, and neither do I.
I do, though. He's here in Marseilles.
I see.
I thought you might call him. Meet him somewhere. You wouldn't have to do any more. I'd go in your place.
Why should I?
You shouldn't.
You know this may mean the end between us.
Yes.
But if you do see him, you do talk to him.
I may feel free enough to come back to you.
$64,738, please. Where shall I ask him to meet me?
Chagri?
Very well. Hello? I want to speak with Monsieur Wolff, Alexander Wolff, please. I'll ask him to meet me in an hour. We can have 1 hour, can't we?
Of course.
Hello, Alex? This is Helene. I just heard you here. Give me a second.
What is it?
Find yourselves another table.
Sorry, but we like it here. Hey,
Just get that one.
Hey, come on. What's the idea? I told you once before this evening to get out. Now go on, take your friend with you.
This table is reserved.
Let him go. I will find you another table. And put that knife away, and don't shorten this place again. We have knives here, too. Come. Come.
Chameau va.
Pour le cas, qu'est-ce que tu crois, toi?
Wait outside. If she should come before him, I will see that she stays. Go on.
Holding this table for someone?
Yes.
Wolff? In that case, I'd like to join you.
I would choose another table if I were you.
But why? You're waiting for Wolff, so am I. We might as well wait together. I'd also be glad if you'd join me in a drink. Andre?
Yes, monsieur.
Bottle of cognac, please.
Oui.
You won't refuse a drink with me, I hope. After all, we were both in the resistance. Or were you? Some people I spoke to in Toulouse seemed to feel there was some doubt.
I told you that would be easy enough for you to check.
I have.
Here, monsieur.
Your group had a reputation for running in very bad luck. You were famous for it. You'd plan to blow up a train, and the Nazis would have a flat car loaded with machine guns in the front end. Or you'd go after a truck convoy, and you'd bump into a tank. Your losses ran over 60%.
73%.
I know. But you had Alex Wolff, and he had a way of putting spirit into you, I understand.
They would laugh right in their faces.
Whose faces?
The Nazis.
Naturally. What has he been doing with himself since the war?
Oh, he buys and he sells. He has a hand in many things. Some simple, some not so simple. From Algiers to La Rochelle, there are men who jump when Alexander Wolff no more than snaps his finger. An accident like that would mean nothing to Alexander Wolff. If I liked, I could tell you many...
Don't. He's ignorant and aggressive. I apologize.
Alexander Wolff.
I think we both recognize each other, monsieur. I did not come here to meet you, but perhaps it is just as well. May I sit down?
Of course.
My stomach is not as strong as it once was, I'm afraid. Thanks to you. It did not allow me to remain on my feet for long. It also will not allow me to indulge in anything stronger than my own special brand of mineral water. Andre?
Yes, monsieur.
Have you a bottle of Paul Roger 37 for me?
At once, Monsieur Wolff.
I am sailing for Algiers in the morning. But I am always glad to combine business with pleasure. So naturally, when Elaine called me tonight, I was much pleased. Had I known she was making an appointment for me to meet you, I might have responded quite differently.
I trust Elaine completely.
In which case, I can only assume you do not trust me.
I don't know.
Your frankness is admirable. To your health, monsieur. Mine is unfortunately so impaired that to toast it would be an effrontery.
Due to me.
Due to you. And yet, I hold no grudge against you, none whatever. Please understand that. Until you fired those shots at me, I was the victim of my own naive idealism. You have taught me to face the world as it is, to understand it, and despise it, and treat it accordingly.
You were not planning on turning me over to the Gestapo that night, then?
You did not trust me then. Why should you trust me now? Put me in the same situation, and I would do exactly what you did. Why should I risk my neck for a principle? When in doubt, shoot. It is far better to live and be wrong than to be right and die. I know.
Would have been far better had I killed you that night. I'd have hurt you less.
That is a rather sentimental statement. But, like all sentiment, it carries a seed of truth. A truth I prefer to ignore. For if I gave in to it, I could not go on at all. I could not sit sipping champagne. I should have had to hunt you out and destroy you for the peace of my own soul.
Yes, I see that. I also see I have no reason to stay any longer in Marseilles. I shall return to Paris tomorrow.
Do you expect Elaine to go with you?
I have no right to ask her.
That leads me to believe you will. You will walk the hour for an hour on the streets, shedding the scales of your own guilt. By then, in the hour, the torment will be gone, and you will find yourself at her door. I can only hope for you. She'll be ready to open it to you. Andre?
Yes, Monsieur Wolff.
What do I owe you?
You are leaving so soon, Monsieur Wolff?
Yes. I have an engagement.
Paul?
Paul will be here rather soon, I expect. I just left him. Or to be more exact, he just left me.
You did see him then?
With your connivance? Yes. I was to come to meet you. Or had you already forgotten that?
No, I hadn't forgotten.
I don't enjoy being tricked. But that is of small moment, however. I heard you playing as I came up the stairs. You played considerably better once. As I recall, you had very little taste for cheap music. But one thing leads to another. Our standards change as we grow older.
Why have you come back?
To see that you get away from cheap music. I am leaving for Algiers in the morning. I will be gone for some time. I came to ask you to go with me.
I prefer to stay here.
You mean you refuse a trip across the water? An exotic setting? A little luxury for a change? You must be in love.
I'm not going anywhere with you, Alex.
You were more sensible once.
I was more afraid once.
Perhaps. In a few moments, Monsieur Durand will knock at that door. You will, of course, let him in.
If he comes, I will let him in.
Quite. You will meet him, and you will tell him the truth. You will tell him it's all over between you. You will tell him you made a rather rash and silly mistake. You will tell him to go away for good.
No.
Possibly not. You are infatuated after all. It is not easy for you. I would find it somewhat more difficult. I knew Raoul rather well, you know, and so I believe does he.
You can't do that, Alex. It's a lie, and you know it.
Is it? You don't deny that you met him, I presume. You don't deny that you went with him to Pier 7. You don't deny that 5 minutes after you left, the Gestapo found him there. A neat, quick job. One tiny little hole right through here. Almost too easy. But Monsieur Durand might find it hard to forget that you had an important part of it all.
But I thought he was a traitor. You know that.
Yes, but I would not necessarily admit that to Monsieur Durand. I prefer to go with you to Algiers. If I were you, I'd merely tell him that you made a mistake. It will come as rather a blow, but he'll leave, I imagine, without creating a scene.
I can't. I can't do it to him.
Would you prefer to have Rignac and his men do it for you? I can have it done that way if you choose.
No.
You should have your things packed tonight. We'll be leaving early in the morning. I will have a car here to pick you up. Monsieur Durand is here rather sooner than I expected. I will hide inside.
Alex, why do you ask me to do this?
I think I rather enjoy it. I'm sorry if that shocks you.
May I come in?
Yes, a moment. Did you see him?
Yes, I saw him. That's why I've come back.
What does that mean?
I'm going away. I'm going back to Paris. There's nothing more for me to do here.
No, there's nothing more for you to do.
Helene, come with me. It's not what you want, I see. I'm sorry. I'm a fool. I thought it meant rather more to you than it does.
Don't, Paul, don't.
Helene, come with me.
I can't. Don't you understand? I can't.
Why not?
Don't ask, please.
You mean it's all over? It was just an incident?
Yes, that's it. It was just an incident.
I see. I seem to have a faculty for misunderstanding people in Marseille.
Oh.
Permit me to congratulate you. You handled that rather well, my dear. You'll forget him, I'm sure. I should like to forget him myself. And now, if you don't mind, I should like a cup of coffee. You make very good coffee, as I remember. Good coffee is the most important thing in Algiers.
And now let's pause for a moment and look at our program again. How much soap do you waste? Well, what makes Betty Furness think we do waste soap?
You'd be surprised how much soap every family wastes in most so-called automatic washers. Why, it's just as if they took that expensive laundry soap and, well, scattered it on the floor, just like that. Now, if you want to save lots of soap and hot water and save all the money they cost you, here's what you want in your house. The new Westinghouse laundromat. The only washer in the world that has this wonderful new exclusive, the Way to Save door. It's the door that saves quantities of soap and hot water. Now, if you'll just watch closely, I'll show you how. How much would you say that this load of clothes weighs, for instance? Well, now, if you rely on guesswork, you're going to waste lots of soap and hot water. But there's no guesswork with the Westinghouse laundromat because it has a built-in scale that weighs your clothes exactly. Now, you just put the clothes on the Way to Save door, like that. Then, you read the scale, here. See? It says that this is a small load. So, you set the water saver dial here at small. And it measures the exact amount of water needed for this load. No more. Then, slip the clothes in. Add just the small amount of soap required for this load. Start the laundromat, and you're through. Now, here's the amount of soap that other washers use for this or any other size load. But with the Westinghouse laundromat, here's all the soap you use because of the exclusive Way to Save door and the water saver. The Westinghouse laundromat is the only washer in the world that washes every single garment in the load uniformly because of the exclusive inclined washing action. See the laundromat at your Westinghouse dealers. Now, if he doesn't happen to have one right on hand, remember, it's well worth waiting for. You can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
We return now to Westinghouse Studio 1 and the Spectre of Alexander Wolff.
J'attendrai le jour et la nuit, j'attendrai plus le temps retour. J'attendrai quel oiseau qui s'enfuit de la vie. Va-t'en tristement.
Ah, Monsieur Durand. You're alone, I see. May I join you? We were interrupted earlier this evening.
Yes.
And so at last you have met Alexander Wolff. Did you find out what you wanted to know, huh?
I found out everything I wanted to know.
Everything, huh? You ought to be congratulated. Monsieur Wolff is generally more cautious. He seems to say so much, and yet when he's gone, you look back and he has told you nothing.
He told me enough.
It is just as well Alexander Wolff was not here.
You think they were searching for him?
It is not the first time. But surely you should know. You worked with the police, you said, huh?
I just wanted to get you to talk.
I thought as much. But it is better to be sure, however. They will have a hard time with Monsieur Wolff. He plays in luck. If he did not, who knows? But there is usually some woman willing to protect him.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, it was tactless of me to mention it. I apologize. Your health, monsieur, eh?
Why tactless? What's it got to do with me?
You were, I believe, rather attracted to her yourself. Huh?
Attracted to whom?
Surely you knew about Wolff and Helene, monsieur?
Is he with her now?
But naturally. Where else would he be? They were old friends after all.
When did he go to see her?
Right after you left here. They were to meet this evening, I believe.
I see.
See what, monsieur?
Enjoy your drink.
Take as little as possible, Helene. We'll be able to get whatever you need in Algiers. The silence is oppressive. If you won't talk, you might at least play some music. Didn't you hear me?
Yes.
Well, then why don't you do something? Don't answer it. Ask who it is.
Who is it?
Paul.
Get rid of her.
Come in.
I was told I'd find you here.
It is not altogether surprising, is it? After all, Helene and I are old friends.
Planning on going somewhere, I see.
Yes, I'm going away.
Alone?
No.
You've been here some time, haven't you?
No, only a few moments. I dropped by to pick up Helene.
What arguments did you use to persuade her to go with you?
We had no argument. It was entirely of her own volition.
Was it?
Yes.
Why didn't you tell me he was here before?
I couldn't.
Then he was here. You're holding something over her head. What is it?
If you think so, ask her.
What is it?
Nothing. Yes, there is something.
What?
Don't ask me. You hate me enough.
Whatever it is, I want to know.
No. No.
That is hardly fair, my dear. After all, the man was very fond of you. He has a right to know. He has a right to know.
I prefer to hear from you, Helene, if you...
It is hard for her to admit that she turned a friend of yours over to the Gestapo.
Who?
Raoul.
Raoul? You couldn't.
It is rather hard to believe, after all. Rather hard to believe, but you can't trust the world anymore. You have to take it as it is and let it go at that. Yes. She met him in the Chagris that night.
And he said it was a woman.
It was almost too easy. He trusted her so completely.
But I didn't know. I didn't know.
You didn't know what?
I thought he was after Alex. I was told that's why he came to Marseilles.
Who told you?
I did. Raoul was impetuous. He was so impetuous, he got some fake reports and he didn't even bother to check them. I knew. I told Helene. But I had no intention of turning him over just to save my own neck.
What's this? It's a knife, isn't it? How long have you had it?
Oh, for some time.
Some time. 6 years almost.
Possibly.
Yes, possibly. I remember here, sitting here when you cut the handkerchief, and then drew on the table. That was also the night you mentioned Raoul. You were very clear about how they were going to get him. Very clear. How clear?
And when the body was found, there was just one tiny little hole right here. Those were your words. How tiny? As tiny as this? It was you all the time. You, not the Gestapo.
You were the Gestapo, and you were going to turn me over to...
Paul!
So, you finally got your story. I've been afraid of you ever since I got word that you'd left Marseilles. and you come back here. So, there are two of you now. I usually prefer these things one at a time. Which first? The lady, of course. I will try to aim well, Helene. Bonsoir, Helene.
I'll always see those eyes staring at me now.
He was dead before anybody knew him. You didn't kill him before. You haven't killed him now. He's been dead since the beginning of the war.
Before we look at next week's Westinghouse program, here's something well worth remembering.
When Junior orders a malted milk, a tiny electric motor does the mixing job swiftly and surely. Junior takes the sureness of electricity and everything it does for us for granted, just as you've learned to depend upon Westinghouse sureness in household appliances. The heart of many of these appliances is the electric motor. Without it, electrical living as you know it today just wouldn't exist. And yet, the principle of the electric motor is amazingly simple. Junior himself can demonstrate this simple principle by building a toy motor, and it really works. A roll of tape, a spool of wire, a handful of tacks and nails, plus these simple directions, and here's the result. Although a toy motor is easy to make, building full-sized motors to do the work of the world is another story. A story of precision engineering. Here at Westinghouse, industrial motors are turned out by the millions. Everyday workhorses like these are 40,000 horsepower giants. All built with the sureness that goes into every Westinghouse product. For home or business, for farm or factory, you can be sure if it's Westinghouse.
Others in the cast of The Spectre of Alexander Wolff were Philip Robinson, Florence Anglin, Nicky Green, John Martoni, and Patricia Courtley. This is Paul Brinson saying goodnight for Westinghouse, inviting you to be with us again next week. Meanwhile, stop in at your dealers. See the wonderful new Westinghouse console that gives you 4 ways to entertain. And ask your Westinghouse dealer to show you the Westinghouse laundromat with its sensational exclusive way to save door. And now, until next week, good night. Gowns for Miss Chandler by Millmont.